morning. This is day 5, day 26 overall. I've just left Welshpool after a 3-day layoff. After developing a problem with my shin, which I've been to the hospital in Holywell, where I've been staying with relatives to get it looked at. They just thought it was a tendon problem exacerbated by the elasticated tops of my socks, which were pretty strong socks. But anyway, I've got socks with looser tops on, and I've been taking ibuprofen and resting the leg. Can't say as I'm 100% happy. The pain, there's no real pain at the moment. There's a bit of a dull ache up the shin. Whether that's going to develop back into the pain I had before or not, I can't tell. I've only been walking for half an hour or so. I'm currently walking alongside the Montgomery Canal, which you can see there, which is quite nice actually, quite attractive. I'm still heading towards, I'm going to pick up the Offa's Dyke path in a little while, and head up towards Chirk Castle, where I leave it and head eastwards towards the sort of Stoke-on-Trent area. That is, of course, if my leg holds out. For some reason this hike, somebody doesn't seem to want me to get to John O'Groats, but keep persevering for the time being anyway. I did ask the nurse if she thought it might be a stress fracture, but she was quite dismissive of the idea, didn't think it would be. Anyway, at the moment it's not causing me too many problems. I've just spent 3 days relaxing at my auntie and uncle's in Holywell, which is in North Wales, and I've just been dropped off again here at Welshpool, so fingers crossed. I hope everything will get easier. There's a bird's egg on the ground. Don't know how that got there. Something's obviously had it for breakfast. Yeah, anyway, easy walking at the moment. Most of the day is fairly easy. I think there's one climb somewhere. No idea where I'm staying tonight. Don't appear to me, there's no campsites marked on my map. I had a quick look on the internet and there are campsites, at least one campsite along the way, so, but I may just find somewhere in the woods and camp in the woods, see what happens. Weather's warmed up, which is another good thing. It was, as I said earlier, it was freezing earlier on in the week. It's now much warmer. Still cool in the early morning at the moment, but forecast is for a really hot weekend, so that's one issue solved. And to be fair, my leg doesn't feel too bad at the minute, just a bit of a dull ache and slight stiffness, but anyway, update you soon. Right, I've just climbed up to the top of this hill from the village of Nantmar, I think is how you pronounce it. And it's wonderful, the panorama here is just absolutely beautiful. It's a 360-degree panorama of the surrounding, well, Shropshire and presumably other counties. I'm in Shropshire at the moment. This hill apparently is called Moyleth, something like that. M-O-E-L-Y-D-D, I think, something like that. And it's just absolutely glorious up here, a little bit hazy. That's the sort of direction I came from yesterday. You can just see the hills I passed vaguely in the background to the left of the signpost there. But yeah, absolutely gorgeous up here, really is beautiful. Anyway, I'm headed now for a little village, Trefonen there, and I've just been told by another walker that there's a shop and a pub there, so I may have a break, who knows. Good morning. Right, the morning of day 7, so 28 overall. Yesterday was a long day. Started off from a place called Clanny-Minnick, just on the Montgomery Canal, just inside the border of Wales, and walked almost immediately across the border into Shropshire, and proceeded to have a long day of ups and downs across the hills. Turned out to be longer than I anticipated, actually, because I got to Chirk, which is where I left the Offers Dyke path, and got to the campsite, or near the campsite, and when I rang them, they then informed me that they don't accept tents. It's becoming a bit of a theme, this one. So, because I was pretty knackered and it was getting on a bit, I walked into the hotel in Chirk, and being Easter, they didn't have any vacancies. So I kept on walking and started following the path I'm on now, which is the Maylor Way, which is taking me to Grindley Brook and the start of the South Cheshire Way. Anyway, after a bit of a crashing about in the woods, I managed to find somewhere to put the tent. Well, it wasn't exactly a great pitch, but anyway, got the tent up, managed to find a little tiny stream where I could get water and filter it, and had a pretty uncomfortable night because I was on a slope. It was tilting one way and sloping the other, so I never felt like I could really relax, because I felt like I was going to roll down the hill, but there you go. Anyway, I'm up this morning, started walking at 7 o'clock. I'm heading towards Grindley Brook, but I don't expect to get there today. It's about 25 miles, and I don't think I can manage 25 miles. But the problem is trying to find a campsite or somewhere to wild camp. Anyway, update you later. Well, it's Easter Sunday. I'm walking the Maylaw Way alongside the River Dee at the moment, and this is, well, on the other side of the bank is the river, the village of Welshpool. Quite surprised at how big the River Dee is at this point. Wasn't expecting this. A little while back, the path passed over some really horrible ground. It looked like red clay, very wet, and I was sinking into it and having to stand for a while and test with my poles to see where I could walk without sinking up to my knees in this red clay. But otherwise it's beautiful. There's bluebells and wild garlic and the church bells, the sunshine and the river. What more could you want, really? Just thought I'd show you this. This is wild garlic, and for the last half an hour at least, the whole riverbank excuse me, has been the smell has been really pungent the whole way along, and coupled with the bluebells and the sunshine and the River Dee, it's made this section of the walk really, really beautiful. The only downside has been the mud. Can't have everything. Anyway, I'm leaving the riverbank soon, heading into a small village, I think called Overton. I'm hoping there's going to be a shop there. I haven't really had any breakfast yet, so I could do something to eat. Good morning. Okay, after a fairly lengthy layoff to let the antibiotics work on my leg, I've restarted from Whitchurch, where I finished a week or so back, and I'm now on the South Cheshire Way. Stayed last night at a campsite in Whitchurch with a friend of mine. It's a very wet night, very cold night, and fortunately today it's very beautiful. It's very sunny and bright. The ground underfoot though is very wet and it's quite cold. This is forecast, it's a northerly wind. It's forecast to last for the whole of the weekend, but by Monday temperatures are supposed to recover a bit. I'm heading towards Crewe today, so I've got quite a long way to go, and the South Cheshire Way so far has proved a little bit difficult, simply because I'm wading through knee deep soaking wet grass and mud, but I've just come up this path behind down there. It's a beautiful sunken path and the sun's shining through the trees. It's quite a beautiful day. Anyway, got to crack on because I need to get to Crewe, and I think it's quite a long day, probably about 20 miles. The leg feels absolutely fine now. Antibiotics seem to have done their work, so I'll update you later on. Bye for now. Good morning. I just left Crewe where I stayed last night, and I'm on the South Cheshire Way still. It's a pretty grey, miserable day at the moment. It started off quite nicely, but it's clouded over, sort of threatening rain. It's pretty chilly. It's supposed to be very cold tonight. I have to say, the South Cheshire Way, along with the Maylor Way, which is the walk that I follow from Offers Dyke Path to get to here, there's really nothing to recommend either walk so far, only as a link to get to the Pennine Way, which is basically what I'm using them for. This walk, the South Cheshire Way, is just endless farmers' fields with knee-deep grass and often no path at all. In fact, I'm now faced with a fence down there where the trees are. I can see absolutely no way out, and to be honest, it's becoming a bit tedious. It's starting to rain now. I'm heading for a place called Mow Cop, where I am actually booked into a campsite, but I'm hoping, a friend of mine has contacted me and offered to put me up for a couple of nights and drop me off at the various end of days walking. So I'm just waiting for a email to confirm that, and then I'll cancel the campsite. But tonight is meant to be down around freezing, and to be honest, it's not very pleasant. Anyway, once I get to Mow Cop and onwards, I'll be joining something called the Gritstone Trail, which is I think going to be a better trail because it skirts up the western edge of the Peak District. The scenery here is totally unremarkable farmland, field after field after field after field of wet grass, as I say, often with no sign of a path, and I'm looking forward to getting onto some decent paths and tracks. Anyway, I'll update you on that tomorrow when I get going. I'm just going to go and find my way out of this field now. See you later.